Hello my wandering and pondering friends. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. We're not going to wander a lot, but we're going to ponder about something pretty significant. Recognition of Memorial Day, we're going to talk about the 57 IBM Endicott men who were killed in World War II. This really is a day for us to remember everybody who gave the ultimate sacrifice. Behind me, you see a marble monument to honor those 57 men. It was dedicated in a ceremony on August 16, 1947 at the IBM Country Club here in Endicott. Now in 2004, when the Country Club was sold, it was moved here to Highland Park. Highland Park, it's a great park, a lot of facilities here. Also home of one of the 5 carousels in Broome County. In fact, the only carousel that was moved, and it's going to celebrate its 100th anniversary in 2025. So I also want to pause and give thanks to some folks, Marlene and the other staff and volunteers at the Endicott History and Heritage Center. I want to thank them for all the information, support, and encouragement they gave me in putting this video together. If you're interested in the history of Endicott or IBM or this area at all, I really encourage you to check out the Endicott History and Heritage Center, 40 Washington Ave. I'll put some more information in the description below to check that out. And also a big thanks to Joe Titti. I really owe thanks to him for a lot of the research behind the 57 men that we'll talk about here. Joe himself was an IBMer from 1959 to 1992. He also was a member of the Old Village of Union Historical Society and served as a docent at the History and Heritage Center. So a big thanks and a tip of the hat to you, Joe. The August 16, 1947 dedication event is commemorated in a booklet. There's a PDF copy of this on the Wander and Ponder website for you to view. The event was one that brought together not just the employees of IBM Plant No. 1, but the community and several guests from the United States Armed Services as well. Every aspect of the monument that August day was carefully designed. The committee that planned it wasn't just executives or a public relations department. It was a group that included employees from various corners of IBM Endicott. The monument itself was designed by Earl Richardson and built by Louis Lertola of the Vermont Marble Company. The steps of the base include reference to 4 freedoms: freedom of speech, freedom of religion, freedom from want, freedom from fear. This contrast of freedoms of what one can do and freedoms of a protective nature is profound, and the monument includes additional contrast with a crusader's sword along with an olive branch of peace. The words of the speakers that day were also with profound meaning. I'd encourage you to read the whole dedication program, but allow me to highlight some of it that struck me the deepest. James D. Edwards was one of the members of the War Memorial Committee, and he opened with this. We, the employees of IBM Plant 1, Endicott, pause today to pay homage to our 57 fellow employees who gave their lives in World War II. There are approximately 7,600 veterans employed by International Business Machines Corporation. Of these, 2,703 World War II and 571 World War I veterans are employed at the IBM plant, many of whom are participating in this dedication, along with several hundred veterans among our guests. Throughout the dedication, a part of honoring these 57 men is the theme that to honor them, we are called to something, that their sacrifice should not just have us feel sad, but be determined to do better. Edwin A. Waddles, also of the War Memorial Committee, included this poignant sentence. If these 57 men were to sit together before their appointed hour to write a last will and testament, it would call us, the living, to a high duty. Major General Maxwell D. Taylor and Commodore Robert G. Tobin speeches echoed the message of not letting these deaths be in vain. And Thomas J. Watson Sr. spoke these words. We express sympathy, good wishes, and appreciation to all the Gold Star families in IBM and elsewhere. What the servicemen and women from IBM and from every family throughout the United States have done will carry on forever in the minds of all of us in this institution. Without the armed forces of the United States, the war would not have been won. Let us never forget our obligation, first to the ones who made the supreme sacrifice, secondly to all the living veterans who were out there willing to do a job, and finally to all the people on the home front who did their best. Wherever we meet together, the memory of those who gave their lives for us will come first. The inheritance they bequeath to us will remain for all time in our minds. We shall always appreciate the value of it. We shall always realize also that there is an obligation to make the most of that inheritance. And finally, this section of the benediction from the Reverend Father John K. Ryan. It is not enough to raise a pillar of stone to the sky. We must raise our own lives to the sky. Then this pillar of stone will come alive with meaning. If you are a relative of one of the 57, my condolences. If you have stories of them or anything you'd like to share, I would greatly enjoy sitting down and hearing those stories and sharing them where appropriate. If you are a relative served in World War II, I'd love to hear their story or help capture it for others. Please contact me at bill@wanderponder.earth. In a minute, I'll share the names of the 57. There's more detail on each of them in the Wander and Ponder website, and I hope to add to that as time permits. In researching their lives and deaths, some really had an impact on me, and it's likely that I'll do some follow-up videos on a couple of these heroes. The 57 men varied in rank from private up to captain. They ranged from men in their late 30s down to teenagers. They included men in the U.S. Army, Marines, Navy, Air Corps, and Coast Guard. Some enlisted prior to Pearl Harbor, and many signed up soon after it. Some were survived by parents, some by a spouse and children. Where bodies were recovered, they were buried throughout the world, locally, France, Netherlands, Italy, Philippines, and honored on several monuments or walls throughout the globe. My words end here as I let the faces and names of the 57 brave men speak and remind us to be thankful and live meaningful. Take care, my friends.